ocean. Despite covering more than 70% of the Earth's surface, it is still a largely undiscovered wealth. To discuss the future priorities for European marine research, the Belgian EU presidency, in close cooperation with the European Commission and the Marine Board ESF, jointly organized the EurOCEAN 2010 conference. Leading European marine scientists and policymakers from across Europe came together in Belgium to highlight the major challenges and opportunities for marine research in the next decade. At the EurOCEAN 2010 conference, the need for an efficient interface between science and policy was highlighted.
What we really need is the cooperation between the research community and us, the European Commission, the European Parliament, the European Council, for our decisions. So this declaration, I hope, will help us doing so.
The ocean absorbs about twice as much as the sun's radiation as the atmosphere or the land's surface. Seas and oceans are a leading indicator of climate change. They are affected by climate change, and in turn, they affect our environment to a large extent. Ocean acidification due to higher levels of carbon dioxide, as well as melting sea ice and rising sea levels, are amongst the main challenges for marine research in the coming decade.
We see already changes in the marine system in respect to animals and ecosystems changing because it's getting warmer, let's say here in the North Sea. And another very challenging thing is the disappearance of sea ice in the Arctic Ocean, which will change the climate system and the ecosystem. It will change the whole Arctic Ocean tremendously.
All life on Earth is fundamentally linked to the oceans. Oceanic processes do not only affect our climate. The ocean also provides food and valuable natural resources that mankind depends upon, such as fish, salt, and other minerals. The average European consumes 22 kilograms of fishery and aquaculture products per year. The ecosystems of Earth's seas, oceans, and coasts are of major importance to our health and well-being.
There are many challenges, and in the area of oceans and human health, it is a challenge because populations will continue to grow, particularly along the coast. And as populations grow, those processes that influence pathogens or influence the growth of harmful algae are going to change. Coupled with climate change, the issues are going to be profound for public health. So the impact of the coastal ocean on public health is a very important and underappreciated aspect of marine science.
There is an ongoing need for basic research in marine science. The scientists emphasize that major gaps in our fundamental knowledge of coasts, seas, and oceans still exist. It was stressed that continued research and new technologies must play a crucial role in filling these gaps.
Well, there's a huge ocean there. There is millions and millions of square kilometers of water. We have now, since 25, 30 years, we have satellites. So we know more or less for the first time how the ocean is changing, nearly as the whole Earth is changing at the same time. But of course, a satellite only covers a meter of water. And the oceans are 3 kilometers deep. So what we have to do is to link information on the surface that we get from a satellite to information that goes deeper in the water column. And that is for the first time possible, for instance, through these series of Argo floats that we are going to use to measure properties of water much deeper down.
I think marine spatial planning is quite new. I mean, it does have a lot of opportunities, and it sounds very promising because it looks like it will achieve many of the objectives that we try to get from our oceans, both environmental and economic, but also social. I think at the same time, since it's very new, we need to be very, very vigilant in the way we are developing our marine spatial plans. And I think one of the key challenges that we have today is that we not properly monitor the performance of our marine spatial plans. In fact, our marine spatial plans are not being set up today in order to allow clearly whether or not these spatial plans are achieving their goals and objectives.
Global environmental change also increasingly influences the marine environment. the participants of the EurOCEAN 2010 conference underlined the significant consequences of those impacts on Europe's economic, social, and environmental development. They also highlighted the societal and economic benefits Europe can derive from continued marine research and protection.
To have a sustainable harvest from the sea in the future, we need to take account of the limits nature is setting, not to take out more than the nature is producing actually. The world population is growing, and we have to see to that seafood is one of the options for our growing population. And when we reach 9 billion in 2015, I'm sorry, it will be a grand challenge to secure everybody enough food.
There are enormous opportunities for innovation, sustained wealth, and job creation in new and existing maritime sectors such as aquaculture, renewable energy, marine biotechnology, and maritime transport. The maritime transport sector in Europe employs 303,000 people directly and 88,000 others in related services. In 2006, the EU aquaculture industry produced 1.3 million tons of fish, shellfish, and crustaceans, supporting 65,000 jobs.
There are huge targets for offshore wind, but there are also significant targets in place for both wave and tidal energy, which are more emerging technologies. But I think that those targets, to be realised, then we need collaboration. That's the key to us moving forward. Whether that be collaboration in the scientific communities doing the underpinning research, or whether that be the supply chains that need to work together with regard to the grid infrastructure, the manufacturing of devices, the installing of the devices.
Maritime transport caters for 90% of all goods leaving or entering the European Commission or the European continent. It means that it's a vital form of transport, vital for our international trade, for our exports. Having said that, it's still a contributor to the CO2 and greenhouse gas production, and we need in the coming years to really improve on that issue and make shipping a more sustainable form of transport than it is today.
Most people associate the sea primarily with tourism and recreation and are unaware of other numerous goods and services provided by the sea. The participants of the EurOCEAN 2010 conference underlined that marine science education and public awareness at large must be improved. It is crucial that the issues concerning marine science discussed at the conference are communicated to all sectors of society and industry.
People need to be aware of the need to preserve the oceans, and they need to be aware of the potentialities of the oceans if we preserve it. It's a resource, but it's only a resource if we continue to maintain it sustainably.
The months leading up to the conference saw broad consultation between Europe's marine research communities. Coupled with extensive discussions at the EurOCEAN 2010 conference, the Oostende Declaration was adopted on the second day during the final session of the conference. The Oostende Declaration identifies the key challenges facing marine research in the coming decade. It calls for an integrated European ocean observing system that will respond to Europe's societal needs by supporting major policy initiatives. Also, it proposes to establish an appropriate mechanism to exploit the results of marine research and identify existing and emerging gaps in our oceanic knowledge. Europe's member states need to work together and cooperate with international partners to meet the major global challenges of Earth's seas and oceans.
I think what is decided in the Oostende Declaration will feed into the preparation of the next framework programme, the 8th framework programme. I think that's very important and very significant. Also, I think it is the first declaration that recognises the fact that research is not just pure research anymore, but we have to develop and innovate that research to turn it into marketable products and jobs at the end of the day.